What if the most important truth about the universe is that you will never understand it? Never. Not because you're not smart enough or spiritual enough or educated enough, but because what is most real cannot be turned into an object in your mind. So in the next few minutes, I want to explore this very simple idea with three simple but radical propositions. Number one, fundamental reality is and will always remain incomprehensible to the human mind. Number two, there's ultimately no choice but surrender to mystery. And number three, the one who surrenders was never really real in the first place. Are you ready? Okay, from the time we were children, we are trained to relate to reality by knowing it, naming things, categorizing them, putting them into neat conceptual boxes. The same habit continues in spirituality. We want maps of enlightenment, models of consciousness, diagrams of the soul. I've spent my life trying to do that. But notice something simple. Everything you know appears in your awareness as an object. A thought, an image, a feeling, a memory, a belief. Even the word God, Brahman, source, or fundamental reality is still just a concept in the mind, an object you can look at. So here's the problem. If the mind only knows objects, how could it ever know that which is not an object? The very reality in which the mind and objects appear. It's like a character in a movie trying to understand the theater screen by analyzing the scenes inside the movie. No matter how detailed the analysis, the screen itself never shows up as an object in the story. In the same way, the structures of human knowing are perfectly tuned to navigate the world of appearances, but they can't step outside themselves and grasp the source that makes knowing possible at all. This is where we meet the intrinsic limit of human cognition. What is most real always exceeds what we can say, think, or imagine about it. Fundamental reality does not fit into the container of the mind. The container is appearing within that. So, how do we move from mastery, so-called, because that's a very popular word amongst a lot of teachers, mastery. How do we move from mastery to surrender? When you really feel this limit, something profound happens. At first, it can be unsettling. The mind is used to being in control, collecting thoughts, teachings, assembling frameworks, trying to achieve a final, complete understanding. Unified field theories. But now the mind stands at the edge of its own reach and sees, I cannot go outside of my concepts to hold reality in my hand. At this edge, there are only a few possible responses. You can deny the mystery and insist that only what you can measure or define is real. You can cling to beliefs and declare, this doctrine is the final truth, which is what most religions do. Or you can soften, open, and allow a different posture. Surrender. Surrender here is not a dramatic gesture. It's the quiet, honest recognition. I do not and cannot contain reality in my concepts. I'm held by something I cannot comprehend. This surrender is not anti-intellectual. It is the completion of intelligence. Intelligence that has traced its own limits all the way to the horizon and then bows. It is the move from trying to master mystery to letting yourself be mastered by mystery. From trying to stand over reality to letting reality have you completely. In this sense, there really is no choice other than surrender, because even the refusal to surrender happens within the very mystery you're refusing. You cannot step outside the real to negotiate with it. You can only recognize you're already inside it. But now a deeper question. If there is surrender, who is it that does the surrendering? We usually feel like a separate someone inside the body and mind, a me who thinks, chooses, believes, and practices, speaks, acts. This me is made of many strands: personal history, stories about who I am, fears and desires, spiritual ambitions and failures, images of awakening and enlightenment. This psychological I, or me, is incredibly complex and convincing. Yet, if you look closely, it is always changing. The body changes, beliefs change, hopefully, self-image changes, even your sense of I in childhood, in adolescence, in crisis, in love, all of it shifts. Whatever is changing cannot be the ultimate real. And yet, throughout all these changes, one thing is constant: aware presence. The simple fact that you are aware of body, thought, emotion, and world. This aware presence is not an object you can step back from and observe. It is the very light in which all observation occurs. So, when we say, I surrender, what is actually happening? What is surrendering? What is surrendering is a pattern in the mind. The pattern of control, resistance, and grasping begins to relax. The story of I am the separate controller of my life starts to dissolve. From the standpoint of the deeper reality, nothing real is being lost. What falls away is only a misidentification, the assumption that I am this bundle of thoughts and tensions trying to manage mystery. The wave surrenders, and in that surrender discovers it was never separate from the ocean. From the ocean's perspective, no wave ever had an independent existence to surrender. In the same way, that which surrenders was never ultimately real. It was a temporary knot, like a knot of energy in awareness, claiming ownership. What remains is not a someone who has successfully surrendered. What remains is the open, edgeless field of awareness in which even the idea of my surrender appears and disappears. How does this translate into everyday life? It doesn't mean becoming passive or indifferent. It doesn't mean rejecting science, thinking, or practice, including spiritual practice, which I continue to do every day. It means a shift in identity and posture. You still think, but you know thinking cannot capture the whole. You still feel, but you don't insist that reality match your preferences. You still act, but with a softer grip, less panic, and more curiosity. By the way, curiosity itself is existence being curious of itself. You live as a mystery among mysteries, rather than a small mind trying to conquer the unknown. So in meditation, this might look like a gently releasing of the demand to get somewhere and realizing that the point of arrival is always now. And it is resting as the awareness in which every breath, every thought, every moment of not knowing arises. In relationship, it might look like letting go of the need to define, fix, control the other person and meeting them in the same mysterious field that you are, like we are meeting right now. In crisis, it might look like this quiet inner gesture. I do not understand why this is happening. I do not know what will come next, but I'm willing to be here, open, surrendered, in the presence of a mystery that is larger than me. This is not resignation. It is intimacy with the real. Okay, so let's summarize. Fundamental reality cannot be grasped as an object of human knowing. Seeing this clearly, we come to the edge of mind and surrender to mystery. And in that surrender, it is discovered that the one who thought it was in charge was never ultimately real. What remains is simple, immediate, awake presence, not as something you achieve, but as what you have always been. So if this resonates, take a moment right now, let your thoughts slow down, feel your breath and notice. Whatever is happening, you're here as the aware space in which it all unfolds. You can't comprehend that, but you can be it. Because you already are. Okay, friends, thanks for exploring this mystery together. Sarvam Khalvedam Brahma Tattvamasi. Namaste. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.